Hey, back again. Andrew Campbell, don't gamble, call Campbell. Back again with another DIY project. Today we're going to be replacing the silicone around the bathtub. Pretty easy job, but there are a few tricks to keep in mind. Okay, we've got some mold buildup. These are do-it-yourself projects that you can do around the home. Very good to do these things before putting your house up for sale. If the buyers don't notice it, definitely on the home inspection they will catch these things. So good if you can fix these up before they become an issue on the sale of your home. First thing you're going to need, of course, is silicone. This silicone is specifically for bathtubs. Many different kinds of silicone, ranging in price from $5 up to $20, $25 for a tube. Checking with the guys at the store, they didn't necessarily recommend the most expensive one. So good to kind of check it out and make your own decision as to which one is the best one to use. Of course, you'll need a silicone gun. And these are really cheap, available everywhere. And another handy tool to have, not necessary, but it sure makes the job a lot easier, is this scraper. Okay, let's get right to it. I've used these plastic scrapers before and wasn't very impressed with them. Using it again, I would give it a fail. So, other choices you have, you can use a paint scraper or a razor blade scraper. Far better. Just your simple paint scraper. And the little bit of remnant that you have left over, you can always just use your fingernail to take it off. If that's getting a bit difficult, razor blade scraper. Pretty much a waste of money. Don't bother getting one of these. However, a paint scraper at half the price works really well. This takes the majority of the silicone off immediately. And then the last bit, you use your razor blade scraper. Again, make sure that you don't scratch your bathtub or your tiles. Be careful with these. Good to make sure when I put the silicone in that it goes to the top of the grout. Okay, now we've finished scraping out the old silicone. This is the main place where the mold and mildew was. Looking pretty good now. However, I know from past experience doing jobs like this that the mold and mildew tends to come back pretty quickly after you put on new silicone. And that may be because you haven't killed all of the mold and mildew in the grout. So there are some commercial mold and mildew killers that you can get. However, I've also read on Google that you can use 1 part bleach and 2 parts water will kill mold and mildew. Okay, what we'll do, we'll add the bleach and wipe up the excess water, and then you just have to wait for it to dry. Make sure before you add the new silicone that it's dry so that you're not sealing in water in behind the silicone. You can see here there appears to be some mildew behind here as well, behind the faucet. Okay, now that that's all scraped out and cleaned up, Just add some more bleach and water. Just wipe that off. And wait for it to dry. Okay, now we're at the final stage, putting on the silicone. First thing you have to do is cut the nozzle, and you want to cut it at an angle. And depending on how big of a bead you want to do will determine where you want to cut it. The further up this way you cut it, the bigger bead will come out. I'm going to need a fairly large bead because the grout here is quite high, and so I'm going to need quite a large bead as I go around. So I'm going to cut it fairly high up. Okay, I've opted for just a screwdriver that I can put down there, break the seal. Now the other thing you're going to need, and you may need lots, you may need a little, but to bring a full roll just in case, is some paper towel. Make sure you have a little bit of water. Not as a shooter, but to dip your finger. Okay, now we're ready to go. At the end of each bead, you can release the pressure on there so that your silicone doesn't keep shooting out. You dip your finger in the water. The choice of color is also quite important. I've decided to go with a clear silicone as I'm going with from gray to white. Could use white silicone, but then you'll have a line up here, and that line will tend to go up and down a bit as the silicone goes up and down. Whereas if you have a clear, then you won't even really see the edge of the silicone at all. The corners as well. Again, each time you do your bead of silicone, dip your finger in the water. So one of the things to make sure you remember to do, take the pressure off your gun at the back. I forgot to do that this last time. And so you can see a lot of silicone comes out. So make sure whenever you put your gun down, you always put it onto tissue in case any silicone is leaking out. Tabs are a little trickier. Water on the finger again. There's the silicone job. Now we just wait for it to dry and it should look great. That I am not a plumber and that this is a DIY video. I'm a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. And I like to do these things, but it's never a bad idea to get a plumber in to do these things for you or get plumber's advice. But if you do want to try to do it yourself, it's not too difficult. First time, it may be a little bit messy, but if you do it a few times, you get better as you try. Okay, silicone is all done. Very good. To the tap. So these little fix-up DIY projects are good if you're planning to sell your home. These are the sort of things that will be picked up by buyers and by home inspectors. So if you can fix these things before you try to sell your home, it can create fewer problems with closings and fewer problems with buyers. If you'd like a full list of items that are good to fix prior to selling your home, give me a call and I'd be more than happy to let you know all of the items that are commonly found or commonly looked for by buyers and by home inspectors. Don't gamble, call Campbell.